here today with Natalie Fee from City to Sea. Hi Natalie, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. This is my second day in a row doing an online talk with UWE, so I'm getting into the groove.
Nice. So yeah, my name's Leah. I'm the sustainability coordinator at the Students' Union, and I look after the green team. So just to tell you a little bit more about our guest today, so Natalie is an award-winning environmental campaigner. She founded the charity City to Sea in 2015, which is an environmental organisation based in Bristol, and they work to prevent plastic pollution, and they've done a bunch of great campaigns. Natalie is also an honorary doctor here at UWE Bristol in recognition of her work, and she's also written a fantastic book that I've got right here called How to Save the World for Free. Natalie is here with us today to answer your sustainability questions. So if you have any, just pop them in the chat box and we'll hopefully answer as many as we can in the half an hour we have with Natalie. But I just wanted to start off by asking Natalie how you got into sustainability and what first made you interested in this.
It's interesting, isn't it? Sort of into sustainability. Like, it sounds so dry. Like, what made me love nature, or what made me sort of realize that we are all connected, and that, you know, if one part of the planet dies, then probably the rest of the planet is going to die as well. I think I've had a sense since I was a kid that there was something more to nature than meets the eye. I definitely felt like it was a place of sanctuary and imagination, and I felt happier when I was out in nature. And so I think I kind of was aware of those things. But as a child of the 80s, I grew up sort of a full-blown consumer and spent my weekends like shopping. So it sort of, it was sort of, for me, I think, two things really. I traveled in South America when I was about 21, 22, and I saw firsthand some of the problems of things like big corporations going into and mining near indigenous communities, and I saw deforestation, saw a lot of problems firsthand. But that, I was more inspired at that time of my life to do more of like the inner work and the sort of spiritual journey, and I was a yoga teacher and a life coach for a while. And then when I moved to Bristol 8 years ago, I was working in the media, and I saw a clip of the albatross chicks with their bellies full of plastic, and that was completely devastating, seeing the impact of our plastic on these magnificent birds. So I, at that point, decided to do something about plastic pollution.
And then could you tell us a little bit more about how you went from that to then founding City to Sea and the kind of journey City to Sea has been on over the last 5 years since you founded it?
Yeah, sure. I started off with a sort of a failed attempt at a smash hit music video that I thought might change the world. It didn't. So I then quite quickly thought, okay, I better do something a bit more impactful, because I just raised £5,000 to make a music video, which didn't really get more than like 4,000 views. So I thought, okay, next thing, what can I do? And I thought I could use my skills from TV and video production and a bit of presenting to tell the story of City to Sea, really, and to sort of start telling the story of plastic pollution and running campaigns. So got some people together in a pub in Bristol, and we started kind of having sessions on how can we stop plastic pollution. Yes, I will put a link for the song in. Thanks for asking, Sam. You know you want to watch it.
Great question.
Let's get 4,001 views. 4,021 views. And so we started off with two campaigns. One was Switch the Stick, to get supermarkets to stop making cotton buds out of plastic and to make them out of paper. And that was a hugely successful, very fast campaign. And we ended up getting all major supermarkets to stop making cotton buds out of plastic in 2016, and it was implemented in 2017, and that stopped over 400 tons of non-recyclable single-use plastic at source every year. And then, of course, last week they were finally banned. The government got with the program and actually banned them. Thank you very much. They could have saved us a lot of hard work. And then our refill campaign we also started in 2015, which was connecting people to taps and fountains through our refill app, which is free to download. And we've now got over 30,000 places that you can refill your water bottle on the go. You might see the refill signs on cafes and fountains. And also that's just expanded now. So you can find zero waste shops where you can refill other items such as wine, which I did last night.
Amazing.
Which is very exciting, being able to find all sorts of things you can refill.
Great. So I guess leading on from that, on the kind of refill side of things, is what are your kind of tips for people that are looking to start reducing their waste? What kind of things can they start doing in that area?
Well, obviously they could download the refill app. That would be a good start. I'm just trying to power it up on my phone, and then I might even be able to show you. But it's just taking a little bit tough time to do. If I need to find a refill station, here you go. I'll just show you what this looks like. So this is the refill, zooming in and out, and it shows you like, what do you want to refill? Do you want to refill your household items, your coffee cup, your lunchbox? So that's one thing you can do. I think, was your question actually sort of what can we do to live with less waste?
Yeah, like what can, if people are like, or they know they need to do it, but it's a bit overwhelming, like where can they start? What are some places they can start? Well, I think
like a really easy place to start. I mean, I don't know with your levels of the people in the room of kind of, are you beginning your sustainability journey? Are you like, have you been living plastic free for 10 years already? Like,
we'll go with kind of beginning or just starting to think about.
Yeah, so I think like a really easy place to start would be to start in the bathroom, because it's not overwhelming, because generally we can all switch and try out a shampoo bar instead of plastic shampoo bottles. We can try a conditioner bar. We are Kind 2 is a really good brand. I've tried lots of different shampoos. I'm just writing it in there so you can anyway. So switching shampoo bars, switching from plastic non-recyclable razors. So if you choose to shave, then they're very unrecyclable plastic razors, very wasteful, and actually switching to like a razor for life, like the safety razors, where you just change the blade. These things can kind of take an initial investment, but they're great things to ask for Christmas. So you don't have to actually buy them in the first place. You get to use them pretty much, you know, for the next 10 years or so. And then period products as well. So switching to a menstrual cup or washable period pants or washable pads. There's even reusable applicators. So if you still want to use applicator tampons, but you don't want the plastic waste, then you can get a reusable one. Loads of things in the bathroom, switching, just a simple thing, switching to a bamboo toothbrush, and then plastic free tooth tabs. Like you can even get in Lush, you can buy like the toothy tabs. But you know, I'm conscious that you might not all be rolling in it, and you know, sometimes going and buying like a plastic free toothpaste, if it's like £7 for something that's that big, is a bit like, what? But you can make your own. You can use bicarb, which you can buy loose in zero waste shops. I'm assuming by someone saying who gives a crap that they're not referring to what I'm saying. They're referring
the loo roll.
Like the toilet roll. You're like, yeah, whatever. Who gives a crap is recycled toilet paper made from bamboo, I think. And even better than who gives a crap, because that's actually flown over from China, is Ecoleaf, which is a British brand, and it's made from British recycled paper. But yeah, those kind of things, like you wouldn't think that changing your toilet roll would make that much difference, but they being big corporates, are still pulling down virgin forests to make toilet paper. And yes, Lush takes your pots back. So that's one of the things I love about Lush, even though they're in plastic, is that you can take them back and they recycle them themselves. They don't export their products for recycling. So it's brilliant. So that's a good thing. So yeah, switching to, you know, soap instead of shower gel. I could go on about the bathroom, but I'll stop now. It's a good place to start.
Yeah, and in terms of those, as you said, sometimes they can be a little bit more pricey, but if any students did want to try out a menstrual cup, we subsidise them. So our shop on Frenchay campus sells menstrual cups for £10. Normally they're around £20, but we subsidise it so it's a bit more accessible for you to give it a go.
That's
and
so
we
good.
also have a zero waste section of the shop on Frenchay campus where we've got bamboo toothbrushes and some of the other bits Natalie's talking about. So if you're living on campus this year or just on campus, there's reusable pad. We sell them as well.
Reusable pad. Why they make it white on the inside?
Yeah,
I don't know. They don't all do that. Here you go. Here's some grey ones.
You can get all different designs. There's so many out there now.
We do have some discount codes on City to See. Here's another of my favourite plastic-free swaps. This is a makeup remover pad. I haven't bought cotton wool or cleanser or toner for about 4 years because I just get these wet and that can take off even waterproof mascara and smoky eyes.
Nice. And someone's just asked about the brands we sell on campus. I know we have, I think it was in my head and now it's just gone. I think it's Faith in Nature. We do some of their shampoo bars, a few different brands. That it's worth trying out different ones. Some people get on better with different brands. So yeah, it's worth giving them a try out. And then, yeah, I guess related to that, Natalie, about just asking about the kind of how does a zero waste shop work? Like if someone wants to go and get their refilled bicarb to make deodorant, like how do they do it?
So just you can take your own bags with you, so you can just literally collect things like, you know, if you're buying bread that comes in a plastic bag, you can keep that bag and take it with you to fill it up with cornflakes or something at the zero waste shop. Or most zero waste shops have got paper bags that you can fill up when you're there. And sometimes you weigh the jar first. So you say like, oh, I'm going to put mangoes in this jar. You put mangoes in and you get a sticker and it takes that off of the final price. So there are some really nice zero waste shops in Bristol. And I think the more affordable ones, it depends sort of what you're getting sometimes, like things like spices and sort of everyday items can be cheaper when you buy them packaging free, and some things can be a bit more expensive, but generally I don't find that it's like massively more expensive.
Yeah, no, I've often found it actually cheaper for a lot of things, as you say. If you just want like a little bit of something for a recipe, just going and filling a jam jar with something for that one recipe is a lot cheaper than getting a big bag of something that you never need again, or if it's a bit obscure or bits like that. So yeah, that's great as kind of like where people can make a start waste wise. And in terms of other areas, like if people are thinking about what they're eating, what are some things people can do to sort of reduce their impact in terms of what they're eating and that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, it probably I'm sure most of you are aware of the impact of sort of meat and dairy of eating that, and generally and in my book I don't say to people that they should be vegan or even vegetarian. Personally, I'm a flexitarian, so I eat very little meat. I probably eat maybe chicken, like it's gone up a bit now, so I'd say maybe it's like once a week now that I might eat chicken, but I buy organic, and because I'm not buying it all the time, I can get less of it and of better quality. And I have a 17-year-old son, so he sort of doesn't want to be vegan. I've managed to get him to now drink oat milk instead of dairy milk, but he still wants to have meat. So I do still buy maybe fish once a week, chicken once a week, and then I don't buy red meat, but like very occasionally, like maybe once every 3 months, I might buy him a steak. And also I listen to my body. You know, there are, I also sort of having a vegan diet, you have to be very careful about what vitamins and nutrients you're getting as well. And I think our body types and our blood types are different, and actually our bodies respond differently. Some people really thrive on a plant-based diet and some people really don't. So it's eating less meat and less fish, because one of the biggest sources of deforestation is because of livestock. So not just for their grazing cattle, but also growing the soya and the corn, and in terms of the sort of the methane emissions too from cattle and dairy, and all the pollution that comes off of the land and into the oceans, and over fertilizes the oceans with all that sewage flowing off. And the fertilizers. So eating less meat is definitely one of the top 3 things you can do to reduce your own impact in terms of climate change.
Yeah, and I think it's really important what you mentioned there about, you know, doing what's best for you, and everyone has their own kind of journey with food and different reasons. So yeah, I guess the tips that carry on.
Yeah, no, I would sort of say, you know, rather than also saying, okay, just eat less meat, but I think, yeah, eating organic where you can. And again, I'm conscious that you may not have the privilege to be able to buy organic food the whole time, because it does add up as more expensive. But within Bristol, we've got some great food growing cooperatives, such as Sims Hill and the Community Farm. And you can buy organic veg at the sort of like-for-like cost that you might buy it in a budget supermarket. So looking into your local growers, I had a lovely thing this weekend. It's not the weekend, it's nearly the weekend, this week. And someone was saying, shake the hand that feeds you. So really get to know where your food's from, and the more local, the better.
Yeah, local always holds up well as a good tip when it comes to food. And then just kind of thinking about other areas, so thinking a little bit about like fashion and what's in people's wardrobes. What are some of the things people can do to make what they're wearing more sustainable? Obviously it's such an important part of how we express ourselves and our identity, but what kind of things can people do in that area?
So I think just always initially really being sort of committed to not buying new, and if you are buying something new, like really making sure it's something that you need and that you're going to wear again and again and again. So try not to be sort of kind of swayed by the sparkles or the latest trends, and kind of blaze your own trail. So I think this year the only new thing I bought was a pair of jeans, because my jeans were just like absolutely, or my other jeans were crumbling, and it's quite hard to find a really good pair of fitting jeans secondhand. But otherwise, so you know, really trying to commit to buy nothing new if you can. Then clothes swaps can be a really fun way of kind of being together. Obviously no more than 6 of you, I don't know how many students are allowed to get together, but have a clothes swap session. And then charity shops is the next best thing. Just having to be a bit careful with charity shops, because actually only about, I think it's something about like 80% of the clothes that we take to charity shops actually get sold, and a lot imported abroad. So it can be nice if you do, you know, if you do enjoy shopping and getting new bits of clothing and here and there. When you feel like you need to reinvent yourself, then try a charity shop first. And then for that special occasion, in Bristol we've got an amazing shop called Rag Trade, which is at Cotton Brow. And that's sort of upcycled sort of designer clothes. So if you you know, wanted like, I don't know, just something a bit more special, but they do have a reduction rail, and they have a £10 rail of things that haven't been
amazing.
I've had like incredible, I've had some amazing finds on that. And so yeah, it's another top tip for Bristol.
Yeah, it's always a great feeling when you get a good find secondhand. Yeah, always a nice feeling. And we have had vintage sellers bringing secondhand clothes come to campus before, so we'll see what we can do this year, how this year goes and everything. Great. And then So yeah, I guess yeah, that's obviously a lot of great tips for people to start making change individually. But in terms of, I guess, just like how it feels when there's a lot of big companies creating a lot of environmental harm. How do we balance that in terms of making a difference ourselves versus the kind of the bigger picture and all these things out there that are happening? Yeah, have you got any tips kind of like dealing with that kind of?
Yeah, I think sort of to avoid feeling powerless and overwhelmed by that, that's sort of when we step out of individual action and we engage with campaigning or direct action, mobilizing our communities, be it getting involved with your MPs. Like, I think kind of work out what you're most into and passionate about. If it's music, get involved with some kind of direct action that involves music, or create music and devote it to that particular, raising awareness about that issue. What I think sort of or if you're really interested in politics and history, then lift the lid on what's going on at the moment, and get stuck into those issues, and then raise awareness about that, or get involved with your local Green Party here in Bristol, which is really active and really needs more volunteers. Groups like Extinction Rebellion, or even just the School Strike for Climate. I think that's when we take that. Yes, we do the individual stuff, and we mobilize and we make our voices heard.
Yeah, and a question just come through about how do people get involved in sustainability activism if they don't know where to start? But I guess you kind of just answered that there a little bit with.
Yeah, I would say.
I guess it's going with what you're already interested in and building on your key strengths a little bit.
Follow your heart and your passions, and if you're like, well, I really don't know what they are right now, which is fair enough, is I would start doing some volunteering for the Green Party. I would go along to some Extinction Rebellion talks and groups, and do the non-violent direct action training with them, or if it's sort of if you are more of an introvert, there's something called craftivism, which is sort of for people who prefer the gentle art of protest and don't kind of want to go out and bang drums and glue themselves to things naked. They might rather knit a handkerchief with the founder of Shell and send them something. So these things make a change. There's a great book called Craftivism, which does have some really good examples of how craftivism has powered change.
Yeah, great. That sounds really interesting. And I guess, yeah, when we're thinking about activism, is how do we make sure it's inclusive and everyone's included in the conversation when we're kind of getting involved in these things, or maybe doing bits of our own?
Yeah, and that is something that I think is really important. It's something that I wish I'd sort of learned from the beginning, and that we'd embedded from the beginning with City to Sea. But the joy of being connected is and movements is that we learn from each other, and we can learn as we go. So I think sort of following hashtags like intersectional environmentalist or intersectional environmentalism starts to show the overlap between environmental justice and social justice, and I've learned a lot just by learning from people who are leaders in that field. I've learned a lot from seeing how plastic pollution, for example, isn't just about litter and ocean pollution. It's about marginalized communities being affected where plastic is produced. And then where plastic ends up, again, marginalized communities being the ones that pick through our dirty plastic exported rubbish. So I think it is really important. And again, if you're starting something, or if you're joining a group, that can again be an area that you champion.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for your reflection there on
and I think we can all sort of mobilize our privilege. If you are white and privileged, then you can then you can help amplify and raise voices of Black and brown environmentalists. if I get asked to speak on a panel and it's an all white lineup, then I politely decline, or I say I'll come if you can swap out, you know, bring another panelist, or have a different voice, or have some representation on the panel. So I think there are things that we can do, especially in my position as leaders of organisations.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, if students wanted to find out any more about intersectional environmentalism, the Green Team, we've just put out a video earlier this week on our YouTube channel about intersectional environmentalism, and we'll be doing a climate justice panel talk into November. So yeah, if you just sign up to the Green Team newsletter, you'll get more info about those events coming up. And then just to start wrapping up, I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your book and where students can find it if they're interested.
Please.
In
could you hold that up again for me? Because I don't know with me in the office. I'm surrounded. There it is. Isn't it pretty? So yes, yeah,
this is signed by you actually. So I have the privilege of having a copy signed by you.
A signed copy. So. Look, yeah. What does that say? With love and rumps.
Yeah.
Because that's reusable menstrual products.
Yeah.
We've obviously had a conversation before.
Yeah, I think we chatted about it at the end of last year. So.
That's the most random one I've signed. Love and rump. So yeah, I wrote the book as I wanted to take people on the journey, or from plastic pollution to the other sort of major environmental issues that we're facing. So the first sort of fifth of the book really talks about the 7 things that we need to save, and it goes into those the problems. So it's a bit of a, I'd say it's a deep dive, but it's short into each of those sections.
Yeah.
And at the end of that section, you might be feeling pretty devastated, but then the remaining 4/5 of the book are hundreds of ways that you can take action, from how to save the world when you eat, when you drink, when you travel, when you shop, when you have sex, when you vote, when you bank, about 12 sections like that. And it is, I feel, uplifting and chatty. I'm not kind of bashing you around the head saying that you have to do all this, otherwise you're a really bad person. I'm hopefully inspiring change, because generally a lot of the things that we switch to feel better than what we were doing before. Quite often we feel healthier because we're riding our bike more, or we're eating better food, or we're connecting more with our community. So actually living a more environmentally friendly life has this side effect of being more joyful. It would also, you know, it can also save you money. So the idea behind How to Save the World for Free is that in all, it will, if you implement the things in it, then you will make savings. But obviously, you know, it does involve a certain outlay, like you say, getting a menstrual cup or switching. You know, some things can be a bit more expensive. But so it talks about that, but it also gives examples of how, you know, in the financial sector, things like who we bank with, and for later in life, who your pension fund is with, that sort of thing. I talk about in the book too. Makes an amazing Christmas present.
Yeah, no, it's a fab book. I can definitely test that.
The C word. I'm so sorry. It's not even November.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll forgive you. And yeah, just one final question. What's like one thing students can start doing today to be more sustainable? If you have like a
I just say
golden rule.
No, I don't. I say pick the thing that you think will bring you the most benefit. You know, if you've been feeling like you need to get a bit fitter, then commit to taking, you know, getting a bike and riding it instead of getting the bus. There are also some really lovely sort of vegan and vegan restaurants in Bristol, really. So, you know, as well, you can get out while we can and enjoy some of the restaurants. Olio is a good app as well for food sharing, you know. So I think if you're like, you know, in halls, or you're sort of in areas where you've got sort of, instead of wasting food, you can put it on the Olio app and people can come and pick up and share food, and you can get free food on there as well. What's the other one? Too Good to Go. Another app where you can get free food. I'm just going back to my very short student years and thinking, what was you know, what was important to me back then was basically where I could get cheap drinks and cheap food.
Yeah.
But yes, and you know, taking out your own, if you're going somewhere and there's like you know, it's going to be plastic cups because it's a gig, and you can actually take a reusable cup with you. And I've been at a gig before at O2 in Bristol, and I was the only person in the room with a reusable cup, and at the end of the night it was cups everywhere on the floor.
Yeah.
So yes, you can power change by kind of leading by example as well, and influencing your friends and family.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you very much. So thank you so much for joining us today.
What I'd like to do, Leah, I wanted to paste in my my links, but it doesn't seem that I can paste anything in.
Okay.
On the chat.
We've got another member of SU staff that will post a link to your like all your social media and things, so people can come and follow you on there.
I share quite a lot of tips on Instagram. And that's generally, and with City to See as well. Anyway, yes, come and say hi. I'm Natalie Fee _ on Instagram, City to See _ on Instagram, and it's Refill HQ as well on Instagram if you want to. Well done, you've sent the links to the chat box. Thank you. Yes, and thanks for having me, Leah, and well done for all your work. It's just fantastic that you're doing this and leading the charge, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, if any students want to find out more about the Green Team, Freshers Fair is still on till 5 p.m, so you can come and say hi, sign up to our newsletter, follow us on social media, and just find out more. But yeah, that's everything for this session. Thank you so much for joining us, Natalie.
That's all right, and welcome to Bristol as well. It's an amazing city.
Great, thank you very much.
See you later.
Bye.